Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Dr. Claudia Albers, Planet X research and professional physicist. And today I'd like to bring to you another one of my articles. This one is entitled Solar Observatory Evacuated. What did they discover about the Sun? Now, on September 6, 2018, the National Solar Observatory in Sunspot, New Mexico, was suddenly closed down with no explanation given. The FBI was involved, but no reasons were given for their involvement. Secure team has a very good video explaining the details entitled News Blackout, Space Observatory Mysteriously Locked Down, and Nobody, ... Now, the local post office was also evacuated, and again, no reason for the evacuation was given. Since the local police was not called to investigate anything, it is very strange that the FBI was called at all. So what possible reason could there be for the sudden apparent forced closure of a solar observatory? And here you see an image of this observatory in New Mexico, which was closed down by the FBI. Now, we know that the Sun is observed at a solar observatory, and we also know that there is something very wrong with the Sun. The Sun has been going dark since at least September 2010 during the so-called STO eclipse season, which is not an eclipse at all, but it is the Sun actually going dark for up to 69 minutes a day. I have conclusively shown that the Sun goes dark during these two times in the year, which are known as the STO eclipse season, in Article 324 entitled Planet X Causes the Sun to be Darkened. The Sun also goes at least partially dark at other times. As I have shown in Article 26, the Sun goes partially dark on July 5, 2017, and Article 211, Planet X and the Sun Interaction, Sun goes dark on April 18, 2018. So it is clear that the Sun does go dark periodically. In addition, the Sun has been weakening for a very long time, as I have shown in Article 118 entitled Solar Activity Declining, Independent of the Solar Cycle, Is the Sun Dying? This could also be seen through the previous solar cycle, cycle 23, as the magnetic field associated to sunspots declined by about 50 Gauss per year right through the cycle. And you can see the data here, it's by Livingston and Penn. And this shows the magnetic field associated with sunspots and how it declined by about 50 Gauss per year between 1996 and 2009. And so this is from solar minimum to solar minimum, so right through the solar maximum, the sunspot magnetic field continued to decline. It is also clear from SDO, which stands for Solar Dynamic Observatory satellite images, over the years, that the Sun has become much dimmer, indicating that the intensity of the light it emits has declined substantially. This effect seems to be the most pronounced in the 304 angstrom images, as shown, as I will show below. And you may look at Article 195 entitled Stellar Cores and the Dying Sun for more details. But yet this has not been observed from Earth. Why? And this is the reason why. And what we see here is the Sun, which is both behind and in front of clouds, which is only possible if this is a simulation of the Sun within the Earth's atmosphere and at cloud altitude. Also, this Sun simulation is clearly not perfectly circular, but has a jagged outline. You can see it's very non-circular. And we'd expect the real Sun to look like a perfect sphere in the sky. But obviously this is not the real Sun. So the Sun has been getting dimmer and going completely dark at times, and we do not observe the Sun going dark from the Earth's surface. And the reason for this becomes clear when one sees images like this one. The real sun has been replaced on Earth with a whole array of sun simulators. The Earth has most likely been divided into sectors with several sun simulation devices as well as lens systems operating over a certain sector. And you may look at Article 166 entitled Sun Simulator and Lens System and Article 226b entitled Sun Simulating Devices, the Irrefutable Evidence for more details. And here you see some SDO images of the sun in the 304 angstrom wavelength. And these are from 2011 to 2018. And you can clearly see that the sun has darkened substantially in these years. But there is more. It went completely dark for about 3 hours in a region in northern Russia during the middle of the day and during a time that the area has daylight for nearly 24 hours a day, as the region is above the Arctic Circle. As I explain in Article 291 entitled The Sun Disappears, Day Turns into Night, the reason for the darkness appears to be the entrance into the atmosphere of stellar core dust, which then caused the local sun simulation to fail. But then the only way that it could have become completely dark during those 3 hours was that the real sun was not emitting light for those 3 hours. And what are the chances that the sun was off for exactly the same 3 hours during which the sun simulation system over the region failed? It is extremely low. It is much more likely that this occurrence signifies that the sun is either off most of the time or is off all the time now. If the sun is still on for some hours each day, it most likely is much dimmer than before. But what about the fact that the sun can still be seen through the images coming from the solar observing satellites and spacecraft? During the SDO eclipse season, the sun goes dark, as I have clearly shown in Article 324 entitled Planet X Causes the Sun to be Darkened, and yet images from other satellites do not show the sun going dark at the same time. This indicates that the images are being manipulated, and it is even possible that we are being shown old images of when the sun was still emitting light. In other words, the images we are seeing now could be from 5 to 10 years ago. What about the fact that we may see a CME coming off the sun in satellite images and then it seems to impact our magnetosphere a few days later? How can they fake that? Well, the capability to simulate space weather, in other words, the capability to produce artificial aurora, already existed in 1977, as shown below. And this is a patent from 1977. If they had this kind of capability in 1977, they most likely have perfected it now. So this is a US patent detailing a method for changing ionosphere, creating artificial aurora and enhancing geomagnetic storms through injection of cold plasma from a synchronous satellite. The use of barium is also mentioned as another way of producing the same outcome. And for more details, you may look at Article 222 entitled Artificially Manipulating Ionosphere and Creating Space Weather Through Chemtrails. Now, for those people with solar telescopes, which includes astronomers with a telescope or who then use solar filters to look at the sun, and astronomers who work at a solar observatory, they would see a hologram of the sun with features like sunspots on it. When they point their telescopes of the sun, these solar features would simply be added to the holographic projection and would be seen whenever a solar filter is used to view the sun. The simulation systems are not perfect though, and this is why planets sometimes morph into different shapes and why the moon can go from one quarter to full within one night, as has been detailed by the YouTube channel The Boogeyman. There does not seem to be any doubt that planets and the moon are being simulated, and you may look at Article 318 entitled Permit Cloud Sky Holographic Projector and Planetary Simulator, and Article 329 entitled The Moon Hologram, Where is the Real Moon? The moon and planets are only visible because they reflect sunlight. If the sun does not emit light, then there would be no moon and no planets to see in the sky. Now the objects would still be there, but they would not be visible. What other reason could there be for simulating the moon and planets in our atmosphere, but for the fact that they would not be in the sky at all because the sun is no longer shining? The truth is that even with the haziness in the atmosphere created by the chemtrails, we should still have been able to see the moon and the brightest planets during the night. But the fact that the system is not perfect and does fail now and then makes it inevitable that some astronomer at some solar observatory eventually finds out that the sun is not shining anymore. Did an astronomer from the National Solar Observatory at Sunspot, New Mexico, find out? And did he or she try to get the information out through the post office? I think that it is very likely. It seems that the deception is a matter of national security, which may be why the FBI was called in, not to investigate a crime, but simply to suppress the truth about what has happened to the sun. In conclusion, the sun has been weakening for many years and has been replaced by a sun simulation system, which also simulates the moon and the planets. Satellite images of the sun are being manipulated, and current images are most likely actually from years ago. The sun has most likely now either off most of the time and very dim when on, or has gone completely dark. And the powers that be will do anything to keep the truth from the public, including shutting down a solar observatory and a local post office. And here are the references. This is Dr. Claudia Albers, Planet X physicist. Thank you for watching.